You are about to listen to the Dr. Dahlia Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Dahlia Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Dahlia.
Welcome back to the Dr. Dahlia Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. Dahlia, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So there was some huge breaking news this morning, and I hardly see it at all on Google News or any of the other major networks. The mastermind behind the September 11th, 2012 Benghazi attack that killed at least 4 Americans has been found, has been arrested, and has been brought into U.S. custody and is on U.S. soil. This is huge. The attack that happened back in 2012 that was so horrific, so horrifying, and here we are 14 years later, 13 and a half years later. You know, what happened? Was there any retribution? Has justice been served? And this is a great start. Zubair al-Bakush landed in Andrews Air Force Base at apparently 3 a.m. this morning. According to Attorney General Pam Bondi, he is in our custody. He was greeted by FBI Director Kash Patel and U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro. And the September 11th, 2012 assault on our diplomatic compound in Libya took the lives of Ambassador Chris Stevens, State Department official Sean Smith, CIA contractors Glenn Doherty, and Tyrone Woods. And the horrific attack and the fires and the assault and everything that happened where if you see the movie 13 Hours, it goes through how much of a delay there was in terms of these men, trying to be rescued or there being some sort of defense of our base. And unfortunately, it cost the lives of Americans. And the mastermind of it finally being arrested, now being tried, going to go through the process of innocent until proven guilty, but is huge, and I don't see anybody covering it. I mean, this is so. According to I think Pam Bondi, she said the Benghazi saga was a painful one for Americans. It has stayed with all of us, and let me be clear, there are more of them out there. She and Kash Patel has kept in touch with family members of the 4 Americans killed. They say time will not stop us from going after these predators, no matter how long it takes, in order to fulfill our obligation to those families who suffered horrific pain at the hands of these violent terrorists, according to Judge Jeanine Pirro. So, as you remember, Islamic militants stormed the complex, set fire to it, launched mortars at a nearby CIA facility. There was a coordinated assault on September 11th, but September 11th, 2012. And Stevens and Smith died while trapped inside the compound, and from what we were told, horrific things were done to them. And Doherty and Woods were killed trying to defend the compound. And then there was, unfortunately, there was, according to UN Ambassador Susan Rice, said that what sparked the recent violence was the airing on the internet of, quote, very hateful, very offensive video that offended people around the world. And so they had said that one of the reasons why this had happened on September 11th was because of anti-Islam sentiment at the time. And when Hillary Clinton at the time was being pressured on the Secretary of State, and while she was in a hearing and she goes, what difference does it make? Not the right tone. I understand she was frustrated with the questioning, and I know she was probably trying to mean, and try to suggest that somehow a certain, I guess, elements of this couldn't be reversed. Not the best optic, and especially with the family members who have lost their loved ones, and an attack on Americans when America has that reputation of you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. And when I keep hearing about the Benghazi attack or the 13 hours and the you think to yourself, why has this not gone unanswered? Why is this still unanswered? And I am very, very impressed that this administration decided to make this a priority, among other things. FBI Director Kash Patel said that he had spoken to Dan Bongino and had, made this a priority under Trump's direction to find who did this and seek justice for that. If you are a family member, you are a family of a victim, it is important. People always ask, does it, how much does that help? It does help. Somebody hurts you, somebody hurts your loved one, somebody takes away somebody destroys and breaks your family apart. It does matter. Now, I don't know much about the alleged mastermind, but from what I do understand, this Zubair al-Bakush was very integral in this. There's supposed to be more arrests coming, from what we understand, and so it'll be interesting to see. What though I really do think is shocking is you just don't see the headlines on this. I understand there's a lot going on. And I understand we got Super Bowl and we are going to be talking about Super Bowl. We got Women's Heart Month. We have Nancy Guthrie still missing but the media needs to cover things a little less biasedly and they can't pick and choose. What's news needs to be news and needs to be out there now. It's frustrating that if you want a story, if you don't hear from somebody, you have to hunt it down. I really urge news networks to please just cover the news, right? Get away from all this opinion piece and commentary and, let's now get somebody's opinion on what they think Billie Eilish said or whatever. Just give me the news. I just want the news. Just give me the news, and then we can make our own opinion and judge. I get there has to be these shows for advertising, but come on, this is huge. Nobody's covering it. 1-877 Doc Dolly. Don't go away. Dr. Dahlia here. Are you tired, burned out, gaining weight, succumbing to the daily pressures of life? Well, how's your dopamine doing? How you feel right now, how you'll feel an hour from now, and how you'll feel next week is completely reliant on your dopamine. Our daily motivation and willingness to push through challenges depends on the intricate chemical process dopamine provides. Christian Kalikas and I created Deploying Dopamine, a book that tells you what dopamine is, when it dysfunctions, and how to successfully deploy it when needed. Find Deploying Dopamine on Amazon today. Check it out.
Increase fuel economy up to 7.9% with Hot Shot Secret Gasoline Extreme, the solution to maximize your engine's performance and fuel economy. Whether you're driving a sports car or a daily commuter, Gasoline Extreme is specially formulated with PEA to deep clean. Don't settle for an average driving experience. Upgrade to Hot Shot Secret Gasoline Extreme and go further on each tank. Order now on Amazon or HotShotSecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? My name is Ron LeGrand, and over the past 40 years, I've bought over 3,000 houses without using my money or credit and taught thousands to do the same. Today, even in a virtual environment, we buy nice houses in nice neighborhoods using no banks, realtors, contractors, or other costly entanglements, and build huge cash flow and wealth without the hassle of tenants, all without credit and little or no money. You don't need a license or experience, and I'll show you exactly how it's done. Text FREE to 99799 and I'll send you my free training. I promise you I'll change the way you think about real estate and open the door to a new lifestyle that doesn't involve risk or rehabs and can quickly replace your current income. Text FREE to 99799 and let me show you how to take your life back and build cash flow and wealth from your home. That's FREE to 99799. Again, FREE to 99799.
And it's Super Bowl weekend. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. I love Super Bowl. Welcome back to the Dr. Dahlia Show. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer. Big thanks to y'all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or X at Dr. Dahlia, Facebook, The Dr. Dahlia Show, and on YouTube, click like and subscribe. So we got the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots. The Seahawks are the expected favorite. I think the money line is negative 235 to the Patriots positive 190 plus 190. The spread, Seahawks are, I believe, at 4.5 favored to win for odds. It's going to be a great game. However, every year I do our medical predictions, and I've been pretty good, with the exception of last year. We've nailed it year after year with our medical predictions. And I know some of you wait to go to the sports book or to go on your app to make your Super Bowl bet until I give you the medical predictions. So it took me a while. This was not easy, the medical predictions. And so I will walk you through how we do medical predictions for the Super Bowl. I think I'm the only person who does this, and I got to admit, we've done really well, with the exception of last year with the Eagles winning. I was kind of glad they did win. We've done fairly well. So why do I do this? Okay, well, one is because I win. although I just disclaimer, I did futures on this Super Bowl, and I had futures on Eagles, Chiefs, Bills, Patriots, and Seahawks. So no matter what, I already am winning money on Sunday. So I don't do this because I have a bias towards a team. I've already done futures. Luckily, two of the teams I bet money on are in the Super Bowl, which means I win on one of them. So that there's no benefit to me choosing one or the other with this. Now, how I do our medical calculations is I go to the NFL injury report. I do not have the ability to talk to everybody's doctor. I don't have the ability to examine them all, check them for hernias. I don't have the ability to do that. So the only data I have to work with is the NFL injury report, or the injury report through ESPN or through CBS Sports or Fox Sports. And I make good with what we have. And unfortunately, the NFL injury report has not been very descriptive the last few years, and that's made things tricky. The NFL injury report is how we nailed it time and time again. The Saints win in 2010. The Patriots wins in 12. The Seahawks win. The NFL injury report was very descriptive. Nowadays, it's not listing as well as we're seeing with ESPN and all that. So I've had to make a little bit of a change. So there's a few methods to our madness. First is the numbers game. So if you look at both teams' injury report, now this was as of February 4th, a couple days ago. All right. No list had any player as out. Those are important. Okay. Because you want to look at who's out, how many are out, why are they out? All right. There was nobody listed as out. However, the Hawks had 14 players injured compared to the Pats having 5 people injured. So somebody would say, all right, well, Dr. Dahlia, well, the Seahawks have more players injured than the Patriots. So that means the Patriots are going to win. No. That's just too simple. No, that's not simple. It adds to the calculation. It adds to the mix, but not necessarily the most strategic or scientifically sound. So that's for novices. Do not just count the injuries. I'm a physician. I need to do better than that. So I need to look at the anatomy. So when you look at the wide array of maladies, you have concussion, you have groin injury, you have undisclosed, you used to have COVID, and all these things. I had to come up with a scale of most important to least important, or least damaging to the team. And what I had surmised was, if there was a groin injury on the team, that was probably the most devastating. Now, somebody could say, well, concussion. Yeah, concussion's big. That comes next. But groin is more. Now, why? Why would a groin injury be so devastating when you have rotator cuff and ACL and all that? Well, the reason why is it's the psychology behind the injury. So if you're on the Seahawks, right? And you see your buddy, right, hurt his groin, which could affect his fertility, could affect his sexual stamina. You're going to probably get a little bit, hesitant as opposed to somebody getting turf toe. Now, turf toe's huge. Turf toe's huge medically, but that just doesn't seem to have the same psychological impact as a groin injury. So you have to look at the types of injuries. So how our scale lies is groin is one of the most devastating to a team. Head or concussion. Undisclosed. Could be flu, could be COVID related, could be testicular, but it's undisclosed. Because it's undisclosed and we don't know what the heck it is, we have that as third. Then comes hip, glute, back, quad, hamstring, eye, abdomen, chest, oblique, knee, shoulder, calf, arm, ankle, foot, wrist, hand, finger, toe. And that is the range. So let's look at the injuries. All right. NFL injury report didn't have the specific injuries, so we went to ESPN. The Seahawks reported injuries to the ankle, knee, oblique, and neck. Right? Sam Darnold, oblique injury. The Patriots have ankle, knee, hamstring, and then Drake May has a right shoulder injury. Still not a lot of details. So you go further, we went then to the Seahawks website. And they listed hands and feet and knees and chest and shoulder and hamstring, foot and neck. And then the Patriots, didn't really have much. In fact, when you went to the Patriots site, it just listed the Seahawks injuries. I thought that was very odd. So I had to go to Fox Sports. Now on Fox Sports, they listed a concussion. They listed an abdominal injury. They listed an ankle, a shoulder, and a knee. Now you got quarterback Drake May recovering from a right shoulder injury. You got Sam Darnold recovering from oblique. So you're looking at these going, okay, now wait a second here. Oblique is technically worse than shoulder. Why? Because it wraps around and not only, you think, well, Drake May needs a shoulder to throw. Yeah, but you need more of your obliques to pass. So technically the oblique injury could be worse according to this. Now, I'm not saying it's worse from a medical standpoint. I'm saying it's worse from a football standpoint. So now we're taking a look at this going, okay, wait a second here. We still don't have definitive evidence of who could win based on the injuries. So then the next thing we look at, and this is last resort. The last resort is we look at the uniform colors. Okay, stop. Hey. Look, I didn't listen. This stuff works. This works, okay? Just hear me out. We do have to look at the uniform colors. Okay, please. Gosh, you guys are just so unrelenting. So when you look at the uniform colors, black, blue, green, and yellow fare worse than white, red, and brown. Why? Well, because in medicine, black is necrosis, blue is cyanosis and hypoxia, green is mucus, yellow is gonorrhea and hepatitis and jaundice. Yet white and red are fairly routine and healthy colors in medicine. You got the bones and the blood. Silver and purple are more neutral. We don't really see those colors a lot unless it's, with your hair. So, maybe purple with a bruise. But when you look at most problematic to least, black is the worst, then blue in terms of the colors of the medical scheme, yellow, green, orange, purple, silver, white, red. So you only use this if there is an anatomical tie with the injuries, okay? We do not use the color method willy-nilly. That's just too important a decision to make. So what are these colors that the teams are going to wear? Well, the Seahawks are going to be wearing blue. Okay, blue is on the higher end of the spectrum with cyanosis and hypoxia. And the Patriots are going to be wearing white. Now, in the last 57 Super Bowls, Lombardi Trophy winners wore white jerseys 65% of the time. According to WTSP, in the last 17 Super Bowls up to 2021, teams wearing white jerseys were 13-4. Now, after the white jersey Chiefs lost last year, it's now 15-5 in terms of the numbers. But who's going to win? So technically, and this is by a hairline, we are talking dental floss thin hairline. The medical predictions are leaning towards a Patriots win. I know the Seahawks are favored to win. I like the Seahawks, but the medical predictions have been pretty damn accurate over the last 2 decades I've been doing this on. So I have that it's going to be the Patriots. Hi, listen. I'm a doctor. What do you expect from me? 1-877 Doc Dolly. Don't go away.
Looking for a gift that can actually help secure someone's future? It's Mark Falter's new book, Common Sense Income Strategies. It makes the perfect gift for that special someone in your life. Mark has helped thousands of hardworking Americans secure their financial future by using time-tested strategies that continue to create wealth, whether the market is up or down. Strategies that will make perfect sense once you take the time to read this powerful book. Common Sense Income Strategies brings to you what Mark has been teaching in person and talking about on the radio for decades. You've worked too long and too hard not to see the fruits of your labor. To learn how to receive your free copy, call 866-764-2635. That's 866-764-2635. Secure your future with Common Sense Income Strategies by Mark Falter. Again, to learn how to receive your free copy, call 866-764-2635. That's 866-764-2635.
We're back on the Dr. Dahlia Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Dr. Dahlia, 1-877 DOCDALI. So the family of Nancy Guthrie, including Savannah Guthrie, Today host, is continuing to plead for their mother's return. From what we understand, we are on day 5 to 6. No suspects. Still, no suspects named. This is pretty frightening. And the FBI is now working jointly with local authorities, announcing a $50,000 reward for information leading to the recovery of the 84-year-old. Many people are looking at that as, is $50,000 enough? Is that, I'm sure you're, getting every, Tom, Dick, and Harry calling up saying, oh, yeah, I know this. But what they're hoping for is if somebody is connected to the suspect, they will be salivating at the 50 grand to hopefully turn their buddy in. I think they're going to need probably more money. And this also begs the question, what are we doing with all the other cases as well? I mean, when you look at all the abductions, and I really, really feel for Nancy Guthrie and anybody who has ever gone through something like this. But, when I saw $50,000 reward, are there rewards for everybody else? Is that why it's so low? Because, we're offering rewards to get everybody back, or is it that there's just not enough money? It does seem kind of low, but, we're going into day 6, and this is an 84-year-old woman. You would, where in this day and age with cameras and all that, but unfortunately there has just been, either this was a real professional job, or there have just been missteps after missteps after missteps. So the other day we saw all 3 siblings plead on video. Now Nancy Guthrie's son has issued another appeal. They want to know that their mom is alive. There's been 2 deadlines. The first deadline was yesterday at 5 p.m. We're thinking 5 p.m. local time, Arizona time. Where if a ransom wasn't met, then, she would die. There's a second deadline that was also mentioned in these alleged ransom notes, according to the FBI, but I don't believe they've been verified. What we do know is that the blood found on Nancy Guthrie's porch belonged to her. The front door camera is missing. A camera detected motion around 2 a.m., which was around the time her pacemaker last pinged on her phone. And so these are very worrisome signs. An 84-year-old bleeding, an 84-year-old not having the pacemaker registering. This is very frightening, very scary. And I could just imagine what any family is going through who lost, whose loved one has been abducted or kidnapped. And we're praying that Nancy Guthrie is alive and well. We're praying for anybody abducted, is still surviving at the hands of their captors. But this is just a very odd case. It's just odd. And Nancy Guthrie was living in the Catalina Hills along the Santa Catalina Mountains in Tucson, Arizona. It's very beautiful, desert community. It's interesting. I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona. My folks moved a lot, so it was Los Angeles, Phoenix, Arizona, and then Las Vegas. This little Bermuda Triangle that we kind of lived in. And one thing that I found very striking about living in desert communities, Las Vegas is different. There's a lot of lights, and I like that. But when you're in Phoenix or you're in Tucson, the stars are beautiful. The desert is so beautiful that these homes, many of them are ranch style, single story, spread out. Really enjoy a lot of privacy and enjoy a lot of that desert life and the darkness and the stars. And so there's not a lot of lights in the community. And I went back for our 20th, I think I went back for our 20th high school reunion. And I was driving around to find the place. And I'm just driving in pitch black desert to get there. And we are in the city. But the community takes pride on being able to see the stars, being able to, enjoy the desert life, not having as much electricity utilized. But it's unfortunately a detriment when it comes to something like this, as opposed to New York or Philly, where there's cameras everywhere and your neighbors are on top of each other. And so somebody's camera can very easily, describe and identify something happening on your doorstep or porch. With this, they're so spaced out, tucked away, desert foliage. It's beautiful, but unfortunately, it's not. There's not a lot of now evidence and video confirmation and digital evidence that the sheriff can use. Savannah Guthrie's father, I believe, died when she was 16 years old of a heart attack. And she's the youngest of three siblings. She went to U of A for college, so her family has Tucson roots. Her sister Annie stayed in Tucson, and so her mom is there. So all eyes are on, well, was it somebody that the family knew? It sounded like this in the ransom notes from what we're being told, that the person had knowledge of the house, some more inside knowledge. In fact, there was a report from that there was a call made about an unidentified white van in the area a few days prior. And so this sounds like something that was very planned. This was... Now, Elizabeth Smart's father has spoken out. Elizabeth was kidnapped in 2002, held hostage for 9 months. And Elizabeth Smart had been asked, and I believe interviewed, CNN is reporting that Ed Smart said not knowing is one of the worst things out there. Not knowing what, his daughter was going through. Is she surviving? And now all of these questions, of course, apply to Nancy. He says you got to remain positive, remain hopeful, and faith that she'll be recovered. So the first deadline mentioned in the ransom note has passed. The FBI is investigating, taking this seriously. And there was a note demanding for millions of Bitcoin for Nancy Guthrie's safe return. And apparently that note went to TMZ. That is very odd. Why are they involving TMZ? If you're a criminal and you want to, what one thing criminals do when they hold somebody ransom is they say, I don't want the police involved, I don't want this, is between you, just give us the money and you get your family member back. I find this extremely odd that they would go to the media, and I'm not talking mainstream media, we're talking TMZ. And I mean, I appreciate what TMZ does, but they're more of a sensationalized type of network. Meaning it sounds like whoever made these ransom notes were very, very aware of the media circus that can happen with this and the attention. Usually criminals don't want this type of attention. So I just find that very odd. And then why would you want Bitcoin when Bitcoin has dropped so horribly? I mean, you would think you'd probably want, I'd ask for gold or silver. I don't think I would, the US dollar's having some issues. Bitcoin's having issues. Euros may be going up. So I found that kind of intriguing. But if a transfer wasn't made, then they had a second demand. Now, that's also kind of interesting. That's usually they're like, this is what we want. We're not going to give you multiple options. So apparently, according to the FBI, Special Agent in charge, Heath Janke, if a transfer wasn't made, then a second demand was for next Monday. We're not going to go beyond that. The second deadline is far more consequential. Well, So we'll keep you posted as we get more information, but we pray for Nancy Guthrie, and we pray for any victims who are at the hands of their captors right now. 1-877 Doc Dolly. Hi guys, Dr. Dahlia here. Addictions can sneak up on us and come in many forms, whether it's drugs, alcohol, sex, video games, porn, or something less obvious such as food, internet, or shopping. Addiction can seem innocent at first and then evolve into an insurmountable evil. In our book, Addiction Basics, Caitlin Kalikas and I dive into the common addictions and provide tips for identifying and preventing these before they sneak in and take over our lives. Addiction Basics can be found on Amazon or my website, drdahlia.com. Check it out.
Carl Amari here to tell you about our newest website for old-time radio lovers. It's 100radioshows.com. At this site, there are 5 old-time radio shows waiting for you to download free as our gift to you, and be sure to browse the additional 700 old-time radio shows available to you for 70% off by using the promo code RADIO at checkout. This is a limited-time offer, so log on to 100radioshows.com. That's 100radioshows.com.
Hey guys, it's Clyde. We've had a lot of requests for Ground Zero merchandise, so we put together an online store with a big variety of high-quality items. I'm really excited to let you know about these things. We have a lot to offer you and your loved ones. In addition to our regular apparel, such as t-shirts, beanies, hoodies, and hats, we've expanded our product line with posters, flags, aprons, mugs, and a whole lot more. We also have Ground Zero collectibles, along with a limited edition of items like a Clyde Lewis canvas portrait, a Ground Zero embroidered jacket that will certainly make for great gifts and for interesting conversations with family and friends. And we now offer publications such as Ron Patton's book about mind control, MK Zine, and back copies of the official magazine of Ground Zero while it was in print. Paranoia, the Conspiracy Reader, also coming in 2023, are updated and revised books that I've written. There's a secure and easy-to-use shopping cart for your purchases. So shop today at our official store by going to groundzeromerch.com. Again, that's groundzeromerch.com.
And let's rock and roll. We are back on the Dr. Dahlia Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOCDALI. So you're noticing that a lot of us are wearing red. So some of you are going, wait a second, the Seahawks are wearing blue, the Patriots are wearing white. Yeah, we're not wearing red for football. We're wearing red because it's Wear Red Day. And it is to raise awareness for heart disease in women. And I also love raising awareness for heart disease in men as well. Every 40 seconds, somebody is having a heart attack. Every 40 seconds. It kills nearly 1 million a year. It is the number one cause of death, number one medical cause of see, I worded that beautifully. Sadly, it is the number one killer in medicine. Can I word that better? Sorry. That's the problem with live radio. You can't You can't reword it. Sadly, 605,000 Americans experience a first heart attack annually. 200,000 people will get their second or third. It is the number one cause of death, heart disease, in the United States. 370,000 deaths annually caused by coronary heart disease. Every 40 seconds, somebody has a heart attack. We are seeing close to 1 million heart attacks a year. And so Wear Red reminds us that women may not have the typical symptoms as men do. And women can also struggle with heart disease. We keep thinking of heart disease as a male issue, but women get heart disease also. And so here we are on February 6th, and we remind people to be aware that heart attacks can happen. They say within the first 5 years of a heart attack, 18% of men and 35% of women will have another one. The average age for the first heart attack is 65.6 years for males and 72 years for females. My father had a heart attack, a widowmaker, and died at the age of 62. The survival rate is over 60% nowadays, but unfortunately, many of us had family members that didn't make it. Nearly half of all U.S. adults have cardiovascular disease, 90% having some cardiometabolic risk. Now, a recent study has come out saying statin drugs, where many people have been cautious about to lower cholesterol, are fairly safe. In fact, my father, the reason why I attribute his death to his stubbornness is because I told him to get on a statin. I don't want to take the Lipitor. Leave me alone. I don't want the Lipitor. It hurt my liver. And I go, it's not going to hurt your liver. Just take the damn medicine. No, leave me alone. Leave me alone. And I go, you'll have the healthiest liver in the cemetery. Take the statin. You need to protect yourself. And he didn't, and he's dead. And so, fortunately, now we have a lot of things we could do to prevent the heart attack, to prevent heart disease. But women oftentimes forget to take care of themselves. That's why National Wear Red Day reminds us. And, as a woman, I'm just as guilty, because my family comes first. If there's the flu or if somebody's sick, or I'm going to take care of them. When my kids, anytime my kids had a fever, I kicked my husband out of the bed because I didn't want him to get sick. And I had the kids sleep in bed with me so I could watch him. And one time my son's fever was very high and he was breathing quickly. No cough, no other symptoms. And I'm thinking to myself, he has rapid breathing. This could be pneumonia. And he actually had bilateral pneumonia. And so I exposed myself to that. I didn't care because he was my baby. But we moms and we women, a lot of times, we'll kind of sacrifice ourselves because that's our job. We're the nurturers. Men are nurturing too. But unfortunately, we have to then, as a community and as public health officials and as doctors, remind women, you got to take care of yourself. And I know it gets frustrating, even for women, that, you hear, well, we got all this breast cancer awareness, then we got cervical cancer awareness, and now they want us to screen HPV in our menstrual blood, and they want us to, which is kind of cool, by the way, where you could swab your menstrual blood for HPV. That's something else that I think Chinese researchers have found. But if we don't remind people to get themselves checked, they don't. See, many of the men in our lives get harangued, right? And get goaded and get pushed by us women in their lives. Now, I'm always yelling at my husband, get your numbers checked, get your cholesterol checked, get this checked, get this checked. So who's yelling at us? Who's telling us? Now, my husband tries. He's like, did you get your mammogram? I go, mind your own business. I'm fine. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. And so my husband backs off. So he's not on top of me. He's not sitting there on my butt. So who's on my butt? Well, if you don't have a mother or you don't have you end up not taking care of yourself. So women, when they have heart disease, might not have the classical symptoms. What are some classical symptoms? Chest pain, chest pressure, pain going to the left arm or shoulder, some difficulty breathing, dizziness. Well, some women, their only symptom might be nausea. Now, the symptoms of heart attack for men or women could be obviously chest pain. Chest pressure. Is it always left-sided? No, it could be center. Some women could also feel it on the right. We go, you know what? The pain's on the right, so I'm good. Well, what if you, like Catherine O'Hara, have dextrocardia? You might have right-sided chest pain. You might have referred pain. So I don't care. Any type of chest pain, you get that checked out. Chest pain might go to the left shoulder, left arm, but it could also go to the neck, could also go to the tooth. I had a patient when I was an ER doc with left lower jaw tooth pain. I couldn't find anything wrong with that tooth. So I decided to do an EKG, and yes, he had a heart attack the night before. Frequent burping, frequent hiccups could be a heart attack. A frequent cough, dizziness, sweating. I had a patient, and we've told you about this one, where she came into the ER with a UTI. All her beds were taken. We were really, really slammed, so I had her sit along the wall, and I checked her urine and all that. She did have a UTI, so I'm treating her, and she goes, by the way, can I have something for nausea? I'm really, really nauseous. I go, that's interesting. So I gave her something for nausea, and then she started to have difficulty breathing. So we checked her EKG, and it looked like she had a heart attack the night before. She thought her symptoms were UTI, and she did have dirty urine. She did have the UTI. But what prompted her to come to the ER, because there wasn't an urgent care in the area, was that she wasn't feeling well. She didn't have the typical classical chest pain or anything like that. She actually had a heart attack in her sleep. Wakes up the next morning not feeling well, thinking it's a UTI. Comes in, gets nauseated, asks for nausea medicine. Nausea could be a sign of a heart attack. We end up identifying. She ends up going through her second heart attack. That's why she was getting nauseous. She was having her follow-up aftershocks, right? Like with seismic activity, her after heart attack. And then we end up shipping her to Scottsdale Memorial Hospital in Phoenix, and life was saved. Nausea as a presenting symptom. Now, I know many of you women are going, wait a second, I'm always nauseous. That doesn't mean you're always having a heart attack, but you got to get your hearts checked. That's why we're wearing red today. We want to remind people you got to get your heart checked. Your symptoms of heart disease might not necessarily look like somebody else's. I can't tell you how many times I've seen burping or hiccups be cardiac in nature. I told you I had a man come in. It was football Sunday. His wife made him come to the ER. Actually, it was an urgent care /ER I was working at in Bullhead. And he said that his wife was so mad because he kept her up burping all night. So I'm like, I'm going to check your heart. He's like, it's acid reflux. Just give me some Pepto and let me go. I checked his heart, and it looked like, again, he had a heart attack the night before. He goes, well, if I had a heart attack the night before, I'm good. Let me go. And I go, no, because you could have your aftershock. Well, we sent him to Kingman. And as he was being rolled into Worm C, he had a second heart attack. Lived through it, got stented and bypassed, and he ended up living. But chronic, repeated burping. Why? Because it was probably the inferior, the bottom part of the heart that was affecting the diaphragm. So not to scare you all, but please get your hearts checked. If you have high blood pressure, diabetes, if you smoked, if you have high cholesterol, if there's a family history of heart disease, a personal heart disease history, if you're inactive, obese, smoker, drinker, please get yourself checked out for heart disease. 1-877-Doc-Dolly. Don't go away.
Looking for an easy read that can actually help secure someone's future? Pick up a copy of Mark Falter's book, Common Sense Income Strategies. For the past 30-plus years, Mark has helped thousands of hardworking Americans secure their financial future by using strategies that continue to create wealth, whether the market is up or down. Strategies that will make perfect sense once you take the time to read this powerful book. Common Sense Income Strategies brings to you what Mark has been teaching in person and talking about on the radio for decades. It's not rocket science, it's a pretty easy read. You've worked too long and too hard not to see the fruits of your labor. Common Sense Income Strategies is available now on Amazon or by calling 866-764-2635. That's 866-764-2635. Common Sense Income Strategies by financial fitness show host Mark Falter. Secure your financial future today.